On our 5th wedding anniversary, I had imagined nothing but laughter, sparkling wine, and the warmth of a love that had grown stronger with each passing year. Yet as soon as we entered the dimly lit, rose-scented restaurant, a strange chill crawled down my spine, a sense of wrongness I could not explain, and then I saw him. Mark, my husband's friend who had always lingered in the corners of our lives, smiling just a little too knowingly, a man who somehow seemed to see every secret we thought hidden, and my heart thudded violently as I realized the unshakable certainty that tonight would not be ordinary, that something had already shifted in the air, a subtle warning in his eyes that made the candlelight flicker nervously against the walls, and before I could voice a question, before I could force the evening into a facade of normalcy, he leaned toward my husband under the pretense of sharing a private toast, and whispered words that instantly froze me in place, words that were ordinary in sound but seismic in meaning. "She knows everything, doesn't she?" And my blood ran cold, the wine glass trembling in my hands as the reality of betrayal clawed at my chest, because suddenly I understood that what I had taken as trust, as honesty, had been nothing but a carefully constructed illusion, and Mark's smirk, slow and deliberate, cut through me like a blade, revealing a truth I had never wanted to confront yet had always feared. And my husband's eyes, wide with a flicker of panic that he tried to hide, betrayed everything as Mark's next words dripped like acid. All those late nights, the hidden calls, the texts deleted before he could see. "You think she didn't keep you in the dark?" My mind raced, every memory of smiles, laughter, and whispered promises twisting into sinister shadows of deception, and as Mark continued, the words tumbling out with surgical precision, he painted a story so devastatingly intimate, so meticulously detailed, that I could see the invisible threads of lies woven into our lives, threads I had never suspected, and my chest tightened, my pulse racing, because the woman I had loved with all my heart had not just betrayed me, she had performed an act of duplicity so flawless, so deeply hidden, that even my closest instincts had failed me, and as the candlelight flickered again, my vision blurred with tears, I noticed the smallest tells, the twitch of my husband's hand, the hesitation in his laugh, the way his eyes darted toward the door, as if plotting an escape even now, and the storm inside me grew, a hurricane of heartbreak and disbelief, for I realized every shared dream, every whispered good night, had been tainted, and my very life had been a stage for an elaborate charade, one I had unknowingly applauded, unaware that the curtain was about to fall. And then, Mark's whisper escalated into clarity, so precise that it felt like a hammer on my chest. "He doesn't know you've been seeing him too, does he?" All those smiles, all that tenderness, he never stood a chance. And in that instant, the world seemed to collapse around me, the soft background music fading into silence, the other diners blurring into shadows, leaving only the three of us in a vortex of unspoken truths, the intensity of betrayal so complete, so staggering, that my knees nearly gave out, and yet I remained seated, gripped by a horrifying fascination, unable to look away, because the depth of deceit I was witnessing was both terrifying and mesmerizing, and I saw my husband's panic grow as he realized I had understood, as Mark slowly unveiled evidence hidden in photos, texts, receipts, every calculated detail of the affair, proof that could destroy a person, proof that had been kept meticulously just for this moment, and with every revelation, I felt a strange mixture of grief and empowerment, grief for the love I had lost, and empowerment because the veil of illusion had finally been lifted, and I would no longer be blind. And then, in a voice that barely carried, my husband tried to speak, stammering excuses, pleading for forgiveness, but Mark cut him off with a calm finality that was almost cruel. "No more lies, no more hiding. She's heard it all. There's nothing left unsaid," and the words hit like thunder, reverberating through my heart, shattering every last piece of trust, and I realized that the man I had promised forever to was no longer the person I had loved. He was someone unmasked, stripped of the illusions that had kept me tethered, and I understood that no apology, no explanation could undo the magnitude of betrayal I now faced. And then came the moment of ultimate clarity, the moment that would haunt my memories forever, as Mark slid an envelope across the table, the weight of it heavy, deliberate, and inside were more messages, more images, more proof than I could have imagined, confirming not only the betrayal but the depth of deception, the lengths to which my husband had hidden his infidelity, and in that instant, the years of love, trust, and shared dreams seemed to collapse, leaving a void so raw, so terrifyingly vast, that I could not breathe, and yet in the midst of devastation, a sharp clarity cut through, the clarity that I deserved better, that I would not let my life be defined by someone else's lies, that I would rise from this wreckage stronger, wiser, unbound, unafraid. And as I stood, the chair scraping loudly, eyes of the other diners briefly on me, I felt the electric thrill of liberation mixed with heartbreak, and I turned to Mark, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Thank you for finally telling me the truth," and walked away, each step a mix of grief and power, leaving behind a man who had taken everything from me but could not take my self-respect, leaving behind a life I once knew, stepping into the cool night with tears blurring the city lights. Knowing that heartbreak had never felt so painfully beautiful, knowing that the truth, though it had shattered me, had also set me free, and somewhere in the wind, Mark's smirk lingered. A reminder that some truths are devastating, yes, but necessary, and as I disappeared into the shadows, I knew one thing with terrifying certainty. My world was irrevocably changed, my heart irrevocably broken, yet my spirit, now unchained, would never again settle for illusions, for half-truths, or for a love built on lies, and the memory of that night, of Mark's smirk and whisper, of my husband's panic and futile excuses, would haunt, sting, and yet strangely empower me for the rest of my life, leaving behind a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimate awakening that no one witnessing could ever forget.